Hi guys, Jessie from the Scrappy Sisters. So in this layout, I am scrap lifting the amazing Janet from RTS Scrapbooking. So make sure you check out her channel. The link is listed down below. I highly recommend going over and checking her out. She has got some amazing start to finish videos, heaps of educational information for you to help with your scrapbooking, and heaps of tips and tricks and organizing tips and things like that. So I definitely recommend heading over to her. So in her video, she used 3 photos, and I decided when I was looking at the 4 of those photos that was correct. She often will say that using odd numbers of things is better because your eye knows how to find the middle. It lands on the middle. And in those particular photos, I had 2 photos of Snapchat selfies with a flower in my hair, and then 1 single photo that was just of myself. So I thought that was perfect. You know, the 2 that were similar on one side and then the just me in the middle. So well done, Janet. Following along with you again. So this pink, it's actually like a velvet. It's already adhesive, like it's already sticky. You just pull the back off like a double-sided tape. It has been in my stash for a really long time. I don't know where it's from. I don't know. Like, I think it was even given to me. I don't even know. But when I saw these Vicky Bouton papers, I thought it would work perfectly with the colouring. It is the nice, perfect, bright pink match that goes really, really well with the colours. So I'm determined to get this into the layout somehow. I also found these 2 branding strips that I think are from maybe Lizzie, maybe Colourful. Oh yeah, don't want to say, can't 100% remember, sorry. That I was going to try and use because the colours are so lovely and so bright, but I can't make that work with the pink tape, and I really want to use the pink flower tape. So the branding strips are going to get axed in a moment. So I'm really hesitant to cut into this paper before I've made a decision because I don't want to waste it. I don't want to do the cut and then change my mind and have affected the size of the paper. But in the end, I decide I am definitely putting this blue paper in a chunk up the top, and I am going to have a white mat behind this layout. So I'm cutting off just a little section of that blue so you can see a nice white outline. And the black paper there, I'm not going to see the mat behind. It's going to go all the way to the edge just to be a little something different. Again, it's a complete scrap lift from Janet. That's what she has done. If you want to know a little bit more information about why she made her choices, I highly recommend jumping over to her channel and checking it out. I will link the actual video, the layout itself that I'm scrap lifting, down below as well, so you can check that out. So I definitely want this black behind the pink because I think it's really going to help make that pink stand out better. But I'm just working out size. So before it was way too big, but I hadn't actually cut it to size. I just cut a section off. So I wasn't trying to deal with a really large piece of card. I am now just looking through the rest of my cardstocks, trying to work out what I want to put down the bottom. The colours in this are gorgeous, and I'm really struggling to choose what to use and what not to use because I just love the brightness of the colours. I really want something with a little bit of yellow because there's yellow in the flowers, and I really want something with a little bit of pink because obviously the pink flower tape, but then I really want something with that dark blue. And I'm finding when I look at the different colours, there's actually only this piece of paper that has all 3 of them. The other papers will have 2, but not all 3. So the decision actually becomes quite easy, and I'm a tiny bit devastated that I'm using this piece of paper because I'd really had visions of fussy cutting out the flowers, but I just have to, because this is the one that's going to match the best. So I've made the decision, I'm cutting into it, and it's going to be the one. At least the good thing is there's a really nice big chunk of these beautiful flowers, and they're not covered up by too much, too much photo or anything like that. So you're really going to be able to drink in all of that floral, because it is gorgeous. So I am back. I cut out the process of sticking down that back paper. So all I did was round the corners of my pattern paper and stick that down along with the black strip across the center, and then the pink tape, the velvet tape across the center as well. It's not actually center. It's not supposed to be center, but just, yes. So yeah, I did all that off screen. It is a whole piece of white paper. I didn't bother cutting out the center. I could have the Vicky Bouton papers. They're a decent weight. I was just being lazy. I've got a bit of a headache today and just can't. I'm tired. My 4-week-old. I'm tired. Anywho, moving right along. So popping up these photos with foam tape. I also wanted to make sure you could still sort of see that pink tape across the center, because otherwise, this is so silly, but otherwise it's like, it's a waste. I could have just put a little bit on the left and a little bit on the right and not wasted a whole entire strip. So I wanted to make sure there were a little peek of the pink showing through in the middle of each photo. So silly. So this is the October Kitaholics kit, so I'm just pulling out the exclusive cutter parts there to check out what's in it. As you can see, I was opening that pack, so I haven't even looked yet at what is included in the exclusive cutter parts. So I'm just flicking through, seeing if anything catches my attention, makes me want to use it straight away. And then I do the exact same with the ephemera pack as well, because I just want to make sure I'm familiar with everything that is in here so that I can know how I want to embellish and what I want to do. I know already I don't want too many embellishments on this layout. The pattern paper is beautiful and quite busy. It kind of speaks for itself. The colors are beautiful and quite busy. So I know that I really am not going to be doing all that much embellishing on here. So once I'm finished going through that ephemera pack, I realize I better start making a decision about my title. So you can see I have got some thickers there over to the left of the screen, but none of those word phrases actually say what I think is suitable for this layout, and none of the word phrases in the ephemera pack really said the right thing either. So I end up grabbing this Kaiser Craft wood grain type craft type letter stickers, and I just colour those in with my Sharpie because I actually want them to be black. I wanted black, and I looked through all my stash and I just couldn't find the right size and the right style, and so I'm just going to doctor these ones a little bit to make them work the way I want them to. So I'm colouring in the letters for the title, Silly Selfies. And that's not the whole of my title, especially if you've already clicked over and checked out Janet's layout. I am doing in a similar vein to what she did, and I'm including a large word and a small word title here. So I've got my stickers, and then I actually pull out from my stash the Pebbles Girl Squad collection, and I'm using part of the stickers that I never thought I would use because they literally say go girl, and it's not very often that I, with a house full of boys, will have a chance to use girly type phrases. So I figure I'm just gonna get these going. Now I don't have one of those fancy dancy thicker alignment tools, which would be really handy right now because I really liked the way Janet's title curved. And so I'm just eyeballing my curve here, and so I'm really lightly putting down my letters so that they're very, very easy to move. Obviously, I could put them onto plastic or sticky first, but there's no point in doing that because then when I'm trying to put them down on my page, they'll still just get moved. So I'm just doing it super, super lightly straight onto the paper. Now, originally I was going to leave the Go Girl straight and the Silly Selfies curved, but I actually end up curving both of them. Now, in hindsight, if I was doing this again, and I actually do go to do this later on in the layout, and I will show that to you or point that out to you, I would have made sure the space in between Silly and Selfies was in the center of the page. I haven't done that. What I have done is actually placed the word Silly Selfies evenly across the whole semicircle. So pros and cons of both of those layout, like placement ideas. I don't think either of them would have looked bad or looked good. They both are good ideas is what I'm trying to say there. I'm not sure that's what it came out like, but that's what I was trying to say. But I'll tell you a bit later on why I wanted the space to be in the center of the page. And I'll point that out to you when it comes up in the video as me noticing it to be a problem. Because right at this moment, I don't even know that it's a problem. I am happy. I think that looks pretty good. I'm now putting the dots for the eyes on and just using my needle there just because eye dots obviously are a bit little and a bit fiddly and I don't want that to get lost. I'm making sure those letters are all lined up. Yep, looking good. I quite like looking back at this overhead view. You can see things differently. You would have noticed before that I actually stood my page up because I was trying to have a look at how it was all placed out. And you can't always see that from the way you're sitting at your desk. Sometimes you have to stand up, sometimes you have to hold your page in the air. So actually looking back at the video here, it points out what works and what doesn't, which is quite interesting. So now I'm going through the ephemera pack again. I love the colors in this ephemera pack. I love all the flowers in this ephemera pack. I'm finding it really hard to use this ephemera pack, as in that I want to hoard it. I don't want to use anything. I want to keep it forever. And that blue flower now must go on this layout. Under no circumstances can I change my mind because I just cut it in half. Oh my goodness. Big deal for me. I don't do that. But I know that I am going to use it, so that was just me being silly. I am working on I'm only doing 2 at the moment, but 3 little clusters that are going to be my visual triangle. And I want to make sure that they have the same pops of colour happening in each of the 3. So the first 2 are easy because I can cut the ephemera in half and just do 1, 2, done. The third one is the one that's going to be that little bit of a trick for me. So I knew I wanted to use some yellow because I haven't actually tied in that pop of yellow from the flower yet. And I don't have to tie it in. It's not that obvious, but I like it. I think it's a cute little pop of colour, and because there's a little bit of yellow happening in the flowers down below. So the blue's been matched by the blue at the top of the page. The pink's in the flowers been matched by the pink across the border sticker, but the yellow hasn't been matched by anything yet. So now I've got yellow in the flowers on the pattern paper, yellow in the flowers in my hair, and yellow in the little spot that's going behind the cluster. So I think that little trio, that little visual 3 idea works really well with that. So going back through the ephemera pack to see, not the ephemera pack, sorry, the cutter parts, to see which of those I want to try and use. I like the colour of that green, and it says love, 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 and I just don't think that that's quite the sentiment I'm going for with silly selfies of myself. So in the end, I pull out this here and now. I kind of like that. But if I'm going to do that, then I want to have another thing in that same bright green colour because it is different to the leaves. It's not the same colour as the leaves. So that arrow is the only other thing in the pack that is suitable. So it's definitely going into that cluster because, yeah, I think the only other thing in the packet is like a label or something, which would be fine, but I don't need a label in this case. I've already put a layer, that yellow spot, as a layer behind the flower. So it has to be the arrow, and the arrow has to point in towards my photos because I don't want it to draw your eye. Like if it points the other way, it's going to draw your eye off to the side of the page, which is a bit silly. So now I'm thinking about where the arrow is pointing. I don't want it shoving up my nose. So I am looking at the placement of the arrow just to be pointing in at the photographs, which down sort of a bit lower is obviously a much nicer position than right at my nose. I found a little inside of that, like it's a bit like the die cut when the fiddly bits don't come out, so I'm trying to find that. I had this idea that blue flower down the bottom there I could pop up and stick on top of the blue flower, so blue on blue, and just add that little dimension down there. And then that little bird, apart from being super cute, has that bright green colour in it, which is the same colouring that I used in the here and now and the arrow. So again, there's the 1, 2, 3, 3 of the green, 3 of the blue. I don't technically have yellow in this, but the bird is also sitting right on top of or right next to a yellow flower, so I think that kind of ties it in. But I feel like it's missing some black, so I'm actually pulling out my Tim Holtz Small Talk tiny word phrases, and I'm trying to look for 3 phrases that are kind of about, you know, wording. Not things that are like, oh, I'm amazing, because that doesn't suit this layout, but things that are like, you know, be yourself and go out and give it a go and there's beauty everywhere, that kind of concept. So I'm going to put 1 in each of those clusters again. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. So for those of you playing along at home, I've got my visual triangle. 75 would probably be the one with the smile. The 50% is probably the birdie. And oh, maybe that's the 25%. Who knows? And it doesn't actually matter. I just, you know, like to play along at home and for fun. Yeah, you know, the bird's probably 25% and the 50% is the arrow. And so there's my 1, 2, 3. And I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out. So obviously the whole design and the whole thought process of where things are going and how to do it was not a concern in this layout because I am scrap lifting from someone else. But it is still that challenge for you to have to look at your supplies and use what you've got and try and make it coherent. So I'm really happy with the way these all came together. Just popping on some rhinestones. I love me some rhinestones. So I tried to copy Janet by putting 1 in the center of those 2 words there. And again, it doesn't look so bad when I look at it from here, but I feel like the space needed to be in the center of the page for that to work. So I decided not to put 1 in the middle. I don't think it suited what was happening on my layout. What I really want, but don't have at all, don't own them at all, I really want some teensy tiny, puffy would be ideal, but even just flat stickers in the shape of a love heart. And I want, for this particular layout, I want them in black. Just tiny ones, so they could have been used a bit like my rhinestones were. But I don't own them, so I've pulled out some smaller rhinestones from Kaiser Craft, and I'm just adding a second one to each of the big ones. So there's 2 rhinestones together, which I think looks cute. I like having 2. And I am done. So I'm going to pull this up to the screen to give you a close-up. I really love the rounded corners on the coloured paper. I think that gives it a really nice soft feel. And I really love having the white mat around the photographs and then again around the layout. I think that's really cute. I love that little bird cluster down the bottom there. I think that's gorgeous. So here are some photos. Please remember to check out Janet's scrapbook. Well, it is Scrapbook, but Janet's YouTube channel. Also watch her layout that she created that I have scrap lifted. Please like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, ask me a question, give me a request, interact with me in some way, and I will be certain to get back to you. I hope you like it, guys, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.